Hello lovelies, my name is Ifeoluwa and you're welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'll be showing you the process of how I made use of my leftover fabric to sew this wrap top. And if this is something you're interested in learning, you'd want to watch this video to the end. So guys, let's dive into today's video. Now, to get started, the first thing I did was to go ahead to draw out my starting line, just as a simmering. And after that, I'm going to input my vertical measurement. So I'm going to go ahead to mark my shoulder to bust point, which is 9 inches. I'll mark my shoulder to waist, which is 15 inches. And I will add extra 2 inches to my length, making the total of 17 inches. After making this point, the next thing I did was to draw a line across each of them. So I'll label this part the bust, I'll label this part the waist, and here the hemline. So after that, I'm going to come to the starting line and go ahead to input my shoulder measurement divided by 2, which is 7 inches, and I'll be marking 3 inches for my neck width. And after that, I'm going to come to this point where I marked my shoulder measurement and come down by 1 inch, which is going to serve as the shoulder slope. After which, I'm going to link it back to the neckline just as a simmering. So after that, I'm going to come to this shoulder slope and go ahead to mark out my armhole depth. So I'm using the armhole depth of 7 inches. Then I'll draw a line across the point like so. Now this new line is going to be our chest line. So I went ahead to make corrections to my bust line here. So instead of marking 9 inches, I found out that the measurement was not up to 9 inches. So I had to remeasure it. Then I'll draw a line across the point. So this new line here is the bust line and not this part here. So now, after that, I'm going to come to the chest line and go ahead to input my shoulder measurement divided by 2, which is 7 inches. After which, I'm going to link it upward just as a simmering. On this chest line, I'm going to go ahead to mark my bust measurement divided by 4, which is 8 inches. I'll mark it down. Then I'll go ahead to mark the midpoint of this my armhole depth, which is 3.5. From this 3.5, I went in by 0.75. So now the next thing I'm going to do is to connect these 3 points together using my curve ruler. So guys, because of the pattern I'm working on is a dartless pattern, I'm going to go ahead to input my horizontal measurement. So on the chest line, I went ahead to mark my bust measurement divided by 4 plus 1 inch seam allowance. Then on the waist line, I went ahead to mark my waist measurement divided by 4 plus 1 inch seam allowance. So I'm placing the measurement on the blouse length. So after which, I'm going to connect the points together just as a simmering. After that, I'm going to come to the shoulder slope. I'm going to come to the shoulder line here and add half an inch seam allowance. So this half an inch is going to be for the joining of the front shoulders and the back shoulders together. After that, I'm going to come to the starting line again and go ahead to mark my neck depth of 1.5. So I'm using the neck depth of 1.5 and I'm going to connect it like this. After that, the next thing to do is to go ahead to cut out my pattern paper.
Our hearts beat to the city streets. We began to feel the fire. We rise like tall buildings as the chemicals they take us higher.
After the cut out, this is what I have. Now I'll label this part the back pattern. So guys, for the front piece, I've gone ahead to pin down the back piece on the front pattern like so. So while pinning nails, make sure you have extra allowance at the front. As you can see the space I left at the front. So now to determine the allowance you'll be using for your front piece, you are going to divide your waist by 4. So you divide your waist measurement by 4 and what you get is what you're going to use to extend this your waistline. Do you understand? So now I'm going to be extending my own by 7 inches. I'm going to mark the 7 inches, after which I'm going to take my ruler and go ahead to extend this waistline. So after extending the waistline, I'm going to go ahead to measure the 7 inches again. So I'll mark 7 inches on that line. So after that, you are going to come to the neck and go ahead to extend the line. So we are going to extend this our neckline. Don't forget, in our back piece, we use the neck wideness of 3 inches. So that is our neck width of 3 inches. Now from the front neck depth, I'm making use of 6 inches. So for this front neck depth, depending on how revealing you want yours to be, you can decide to use 7 inches, 8 inches. But for me, I don't want it to be too revealing. That's why I'm using 6 inches. So now I'm going to fold this back piece like so and go ahead to connect the neck width to the neck depth. This is the front neck design. So now from this point where you marked your waist measurements, you are going to go up by 2 inches. So I went up by 2 inches, after which I'm going to draw a straight line up like this. I'll draw the straight line up like this. This is the 2 inches. Then I'll take my curve ruler and go ahead to connect this point to this point. So watch closely how I place the curve ruler and go ahead to draw your curve. So guys, basically this is all about the front piece. Now I'll go ahead to cut out my pattern.
Our hearts beat to the city streets. We began to feel the fire. We rise like tall buildings as the chemicals they take us higher. The night's young, it is just begun.
After the cutout, this is what I have. Now I'll label this part the front, after which I'll use this pattern paper to cut out my fabric. So guys, this is it after using the pattern paper to cut out my fabric. We have the back piece. Don't forget, when using your pattern paper to cut out the back piece is going to be on fold, but the front piece is going to be in 2 pieces. So here is my back piece and this is my front piece. Now let's move to the sewing part. For the sewing part, I'm going to place my back piece like so and also go ahead to place in the front piece. So I'm going to place my front piece on the back piece like so, making sure the two shoulders are well aligned together. So after arranging it properly, I'm going to take it to the machine and go ahead to stitch the two shoulders together using the half an inch I added to my pattern. After sewing down the two shoulders together, this is what I have. Now you are going to take your tape and go ahead to measure this front piece down from one edge to another. So just watch exactly what I'm doing. I'm going to place your tape from the front piece and go ahead to measure it all through to the back piece, then to the front piece again. So guys, I went ahead to use the exact measurement I got to cut out this white piece, which is going to be for the collar. While cutting the white piece, make sure it is on fold. You determine the amount of the height of the collar you want yours to be. So I want mine to be 1.5, but I went ahead to cut out 1.75. So by the time I sew down 0.25, I'm going to derive the 1.5, which I'm using for the height of my collar. So now to attach the collar to the fabric, you have two ways. So I'll be showing you the two ways now. So it's either you take one part of the collar and attach it to the fabric. So let me take my pin and pin it down for you to see. So I'm going to go ahead to pin this part. So you take one piece of the collar and your fabric and you go ahead to stitch it down. After stitching it down, you take the second piece of the collar and use it to close it up. Then stitch it down. So this is one method. And the second method is you take the collar like so, you take the two pieces of the collar and go ahead to stitch it down to your fabric. So this is the method I'll be using for mine. I'm going to take the collar, let me pin it down for you to see. So I'll go ahead to pin it down all through, then I'll stitch it down to the fabric. So I'll go ahead to stitch it down and come back to show you guys. Now this is what I have after stitching down the collar to the main piece. Now the next thing I'm going to do is to go ahead to pin down the two sides together. So guys, after pinning the two sides together, I'm going to take it to the machine and go ahead to stitch it down using the 1 inch I added for my seam allowance. Then after stitching the two sides together, I'm going to go ahead to hem the down part. I'll hem the down part using 1 inch. So this is what I have guys. I've gone ahead to stitch down the two sides and I've hemmed the down part. I've also attached one belt to the fabric, but I'll be showing you how to attach a belt. Now to attach our belt, you are going to take your tape and go ahead to measure what you have left. So you start from your collar and go ahead to measure what you have. Here you can see that I have 2.5. So I'm going to add a 0.5, which is going to serve as the seam allowance. Now while cutting the belt, I'm going to place my fabric on fold. That is, I'm cutting 6 inches. On fold will be 3 inches. I hope you understand. So by the time I use half an inch to sew the two sides together, I'm going to be left with 2.5 on fold, don't forget. So because I don't have enough fabric, I went ahead to cut mine in pieces. That's why I joined the two sides together, as you can see. Don't forget, you're going to measure what you have and add 0.5. Then while cutting your fabric, you place your fabric on fold. Then you go ahead to stitch the sides together. So after stitching the belt, you are going to close in one end and open the other end. So you are going to close one end and leave the other end open. Now the end you left open, you are going to fold in half an inch inside. So you are going to fold in half an inch. Then you take your fabric and go ahead to put it inside just as you see me doing. So you take your fabric and put it inside the belt. As you can see, make sure you are not putting too much inside, just like half an inch inside the belt. So you are going to push it inside like so. I'm going to use my pin to put it in place. So after pinning it, this is what I have. I'm going to take it to the machine and go ahead to stitch it closely. After stitching it, I'm going to attach my sleeves to it and come back to show you the final look of our dress. So guys, this is the final look of our dress. As you can see, I've attached my sleeve to it. And this will bring us to the end of this tutorial. If this video was helpful, show some love by hitting the like button and sharing your thoughts in the comments below. Also, do not forget to hit the subscribe button to subscribe to this channel for more sewing tutorials like this. Thank you for watching.